Technology is a cluster today. Alright, let's see if things are working. I'm really bright. Now I'm really dark. What is this world? Let's see if stuff is working. It seems like nothing in its brother wants to work today. There we go. Oh, that's dummy me. Okay, we're good. Alrighty. I've been running around crazy because I forgot to charge my like nice camera. After my business application is done being processed, I'm just gonna break down and just buy a cable for it because I'm done with running around and trying to charge it, and it's just a giant pain in the tail. So I have to get a power cable for this sucker, and I will do that once I can write it off. If I try to run it off USB, it goes into USB mode and it doesn't work. So, I don't know how long we'll be streaming today. Probably as long as the camera is gonna let me, because I forgot to charge it because I'm a dummy. But it's all good. So we are going to be working on our good friend. Let me put him on the base. There it goes. That we built last time I streamed. Or we assembled and magnetized this guy. I had to redo the magnets on the inside a little bit because stop being stuck. The big magnet that was holding the commander into the cupola, it was just too strong, and I kept pulling apart the magnets here. So the magnet on the inside with the brace, still the same. Still the same amount of strength. You know, it's not going anywhere. Still, there's 10x2 magnets. The ones on the side are the same. I haven't modified them at all. The guns are just floating around down here on the table. So, no, they're all still the same as on Sunday. But started to get some colors blocked in on our tank. So that's what we're going to be working on today, which is pretty cool. I have also been 3D printing like mad. Pretty much anytime I have downtime, I'm just popping things in the 3D printer. Like, if I can be home, the 3D printer is 3D printing right now. And part of that is me just trying to, like, get the hang of it, and learn sort of, like, what it can do and stuff. And part of that is the fact that I want to do themed terrain for Star Wars Legion. So I have... Hello! I've begun working on a full set of Tatooine buildings and terrain that I'm all 3D printing. So these are from... Where are we at? There we are. These are from Imperial Terrain, which is a company that sells STLs for these. I've added some extra wires and stuff because I think it'll be fun. Once it's completed, it'll give it a nice little more detailed look. So I have two of these style buildings printed. They're actually both different. There is a pack that you can buy, and they 3D print like this. So essentially in multiple sections where you have like doors that print, you have the roof that prints, and you have the building that prints. So Imperial Terrain sells like a Tatooine pack, or like I guess they call it like a desert pack or something. I don't know. But it's like $15 and it comes with like 30 buildings or something. It's insane. So yeah, I'm looking forward to painting it too. So hopefully that'll be this weekend when I have hopefully a lot of it printed. So fingers crossed, I'm trying. So I got all those printed. Or at least these two buildings printed. This one's glued together and everything. The other one's not yet. Because the doors print a little large. With these, they actually are slightly like slightly too big for the models if you print them at 100% scale. I printed them at 70% scale, which is slightly too small. I think it's okay. Like, they still look really good, but like they're not 100% to scale. They're like slightly under. If you were to print these at say like 80% scale, they would be like 100% spot on. I think they're made a little bit larger to account for the fact that your guys are on bases. So for example, you can see that the guy's a little bit tall for the doorway, but then if you account for the base, it's pretty good. So if I was to print this like 10% larger, I think it'd be perfect. I think the 100% setting is to account for the fact that the guys are on bases. So it basically adds like a base height worth to all the buildings. It's pretty much just going to be sand colored. So it's not going to be anything fancy. But they're really cool. I am doing a whole table of them. So I'll have a whole Tatooine table to go along with Star Wars Legion stuff, which is pretty cool. So I might actually rebase all my Star Wars Legion guys because they're kind of on reddish bases. I might move that over to like a sand color base. That won't take very long. It'll take like an afternoon. So I've got those printed. The like Tatooine City Pack or Desert Communities Pack or whatever the hell they call it also includes a bunch of like these like pallets with like crates and stuff on them. These print really quick, so last night before I went to bed I fired off some of these. So each one of those takes like, I don't know, like an hour print, whereas the buildings take a couple hours. So they're pretty cool too, and they're nice. They're just nice little cover. So like, again, I shrunk these down 70%. And they work really good. So we'll put those off to the side. I do have the ARC Troopers. They're all up on their little flight stands now, which is really cool. And then I've got the AAT, who I have not glued to his flight stand, so I can paint underneath of him easily. But there he is too. So we're gonna work on him today, because I think he's probably a more interesting thing to work on painting on stream than the ARC Troopers are. So the coolness of the ARC Troopers will come after their like base coats and stuff are painted. So let's swap over to the other view, and we'll paint this AAT for as long as we can till I run out of juice. Let's see what we got. There we go. Alright. Alright, let's move some tools, move some tools, move some tools. Okay. A little bit of a mess, but we're not bad. Okay. So, painting this together is a pain in the tail, so we're going to assemble it with the magnets, which is, again, a nice thing. And then we'll start working on our sections. Alright. Let's finish up the Clone Commander first. So he's going to be a little bit... Let's get a brush for him. It's going to be a little bit more detailed. So, Roger, Roger. There he is, pointing, giving orders, doing droid stuff. I'm just going to pick out a couple little details on him. The real movie droids don't have these details in these colors, but I was trying to normalize the color sets between the droids and the droidicas a little bit. Because something you see in a lot of movies, specifically movies sort of aimed at children, is that they will color code the different kinds of bad guys and give the bad guys like very clear, distinct roles. So they did that in episode 1, and since they did it there, they had to carry it throughout the whole series. So you'll see the droidicas and the super battle droids and stuff, they're all very unique colors. Where in truth, they probably wouldn't be. They would all be very similar kind of colors. Essentially probably have like the same color palette. Um, One, because they'd probably actually be made all the same, very similar materials, if not the exact same materials. And two, like if you were in the field and you were like some Genosian tech or something painting these things, you'd probably only have one set of paint. You wouldn't have like, oh, this is the paint for these guys and this is the paint for these guys. Like it wouldn't work that way. And the fun thing about these Star Wars models is they kind of, specifically the clone troopers, they, I guess on the droids too, they kind of trigger that. And do you want these to be a specific Legion kind of thing, or do you want them to be your own, something you made up yourself? So like you could in theory paint these guys to where any Star Wars fan that were to look at them would know exactly who they're supposed to be. Or you could paint them, you know, sort of kind of random and come up with your own thing like I've been doing. I think the latter is more interesting, but I do like the fact that the Star Wars setting allows for that. You know, like, oh, these guys, they're the 501st something something that was in this movie under Obi-Wan for 3 seconds or something. I like that it allows for that. I think that's really neat. I know in Warhammer, a lot of people, they're like, oh man, I would love to get some salamanders. All I have is blood angels. It's like, dude, they're the same fucking models. One of them's red and one of them's green. If you want to play salamanders, just play salamanders. It doesn't matter that they're red. You know, like, but I think it's cool that, you know, so some people like that, and that's nice that Star Wars lets them do that. Okay, let's see. We got his joints painted in there. His joints painted in there. Let's paint the little bolt on his chest. Boop 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 ba-doop, boop 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 ba-doop. There we go. Let's paint in his binoculars. So I love these battle droid minis because they all technically are running the same socket joints on their arms. So for example, like if you wanted to take this body and have your commander standing there with a rifle instead, all you have to do is take a rifle from the normal battle droids and it would work. It's really nice the way that they made these guys. I mean, in the movie, that's, you know, they're sort of mass-produced tin cans with guns. But I think it's really nice that the fact that they actually work like that allows you to do cool stuff with their posing and all. There we go. Alright, so he's got his binoculars done. He's got his extra little bits of silver in there. Let's use up the rest of the silver paint that we have, and then we'll paint some markings on him. Okay, moving to a bigger brush. Let's get some of these guns painted silver. Oh, there's a big nub on that one that I missed, apparently. Gotta clean up the nubs. Come here. There we go. No nubs. Just going to use up the, or I guess silver's the wrong term. This is actually gunmetal. But I just want to use it up while I've got it out and wet. Considering a lot of these they're not really fancy painting. They're just slapping some base coat on there, and that's pretty much it. These are going to get some silver details. Really, there's not too much to do with these. You know, because the droids to me aren't like, they're not like a force that like gets stuck in for days and days and days and days. You know, they're the kind of thing that like you deploy, and you know they probably moved on pretty quick, right? Like I don't see them being these like super weathered, beaten up, like you know, just like down in the mud army. So like I'm not really gonna do a ton of weathering on them. I'm gonna do a little bit, but nothing like crazy, you know. So I don't think it really fits the droids super well. You know, because they're just cranked out in some factory and sent out on the battlefield to die. Like, you know, like what is the average lifespan of a droid, right? Like a couple of months, a year maybe. You know, before he's either packed up and put in storage somewhere, or like, you know, shot apart on the battlefield, right? These aren't things with like full artificial intelligence and personalities and families they go home to, and you know, if they're out there on the battlefield during Life Day, I mean, they don't care, right? Like, they're just walking tin cans basically. So I don't see them getting like super beat up, because I don't imagine them being on the battlefield for that long. And I'm going to do a little bit of weathering on them as well, but nothing crazy. Probably just a little bit of earth effects and stuff on like the rims of the tank. Nothing crazy. All right, let's paint some markings on this clone commander. That way. Oh, I forgot to paint his base rim. Okay, let's do the markings and then we'll do his base. And that will give us some silver to finish up those guns. Okay, so in the movie they have like they usually use yellow for the commanders, it seems. And it seems like part of their head is usually yellow, so we'll do that. And sometimes for like some, it seems like they have like these areas painted yellow, or like these areas painted like they're wearing like a sweater or like a little vest or something. So we'll do that on this guy. I think this is more of a thing for like security guards, but I think it's cool. So we'll do that on him. Just paint those little details in there. There we go. And let's do the other like little shoulder area as well. I will admit the battle droids and the clones are probably the armies that I was most interested in this game. Like I probably wouldn't have even considered picking up anything for it if they hadn't actually been in the game. Because like I like the Imperial stuff a lot. I like all the Stormtroopers and all. Like a big ATST is really neat and all, but like I don't like a lot of the Rebel units. Because they're all just kind of like shitheads and like normal clothes with guns. And I get that that's what Rebels are, but like I don't know. I don't think like the guerrilla fighters are very fun, very interesting to paint personally. They do have some different aliens and stuff, which is kind of cool in their ranks, but nothing that like super captivates me. Their their model ranges are also kind of weird because they have like all these specific atmosphere units. So like they have like snow troopers and then like a snow speeder. And there we go. He's got some little bit of yellow on him. Show him off there. A little bit of yellow on him to show that he is the boss. Got his little yellow shoulder pads, his little yellow head dot. And he can point and give orders from inside his little commander cupola. Alright, so let's get some silver out so we can paint the ring of his base that attaches him to the tank. But yeah, the other two armies, I just haven't, wasn't super into them, because, like, it's kind of weird, right? Like, it's, like, you know, you want to paint a Tauntaun, right? Like, that's cool as hell, but you don't want to paint a Tauntaun and then have an army of, like, shore troopers, you know what I mean? Like, that just doesn't line up, right? Like, when the army has something like a dewback, and your guys are all like snow troopers and stuff, it's just weird, you know? It sort of breaks that that like sense of disbelief that the game table is trying to create. You know, because you're creating a really cool scene when you play miniatures games. That's part of the appeal of it, you know what I mean? It's having all the toys on the table. You know, and the train matches, and like they all look cool, and like you can come up with a neat little story, and you know, it's like this kind of narrative thing, right? And you definitely. Oh, why did I wash that out? When you have some units that are like snow units, and then some that are like, you know, units for Hawaii, like the shore troopers are. They're like Hawaii stormtroopers. It's very weird. Just a strange bit of dissonance. But yep, so doing clones and droids. I've got to pick up a couple more kits to get up to full full army scale, but not that far off. So I'm probably going to grab a box of B2 battle droids, the super battle droids, and probably a box of Staps, and that will finish my army for my droids. And then for the troopers, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Because the troopers, there's a couple different ways. Oh no, did I already run out of battery? Ah, man. Oh well, sad. Alright, well, I'm a dummy and forgot to charge my camera, so I'm going to have to call it there. I was just ranting about buying toys anyway. At least we got to paint the clone, or not there, the tank commander, so at least we got to do that. I will be, I'm not going to be camouflaging this tank, but I will be doing it in slightly different tones than the movie. Because again, I want to normalize colors between all of the droid items. And I am planning on picking up a box of Stab Riders. So the tank is going to be a little more brown, because I want the Stab Riders to match it. And I also don't want the tank to look like it is... Let me swap over to the full cam. Yeah, I know it did. I'm just using up the rest of the paint on my palette that I'm going to call it. Because I'm a dummy and forgot to charge it last night. Because I got caught up 3D painting, 3D printing. But yeah, my tank it's going to be more brown than the standard one. I also want it to stand out against the troopers, against the battle droids themselves, because I don't want the tank to look like it's just a big battle droid, because it is something that the droids ride in and they use. It would make more sense lore wise if it was just a big battle droid, but it's not. So I want it to look like a separate entity. So we can put our We can put our painted little clone commander in his tank. And there he is. Come on, Lights. You're killing me today. I'm having all the technical difficulties today, man. Come on. Come on, come on. Alright, so there he is. So at least he's looking good. I gotta darken his eyes a little bit more. And then he is good. And yeah. So I'll work on this and I'll throw some photos up on Instagram since my camera died. And I will charge that for next time. Maybe I will do a stream on Friday since this one was so fail. But thank you guys for watching. I guess I have to go to Walmart now. But nobody likes going to Walmart. But gotta get Puppo food. So thank you guys for watching this short stream. At least I got to show off my 3D printed buildings and stuff. So that's kind of cool. So